All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom today. Powerful Patriot Mobile microphone at the Patriot Mobile Command Center Ranch. Good heavens, if you want to watch the program today on a Tuesday, which seems like a Monday, weird because of a holiday, Memorial Day. Hope you had a great holiday. Hope you grilled hard or barbecued hard. There is a difference, by the way. Maybe we'll explain that later. If not, you can look it up. AAR Mark, we hope you do. And we would really hope that you watch us over at YouTube. It is youtube.com/@Armed American Radio. You can also check us out on the Telegram messaging app. That's easy. Just if you don't have the app, download the app and search for Armed American Radio Conversations, and that will do it. And as most of you who listen to the show every day will not hear from Greg today. I did that spewel because Greg is out on a staycation for the week. Good for him. He's earned it. He deserves it. And we got great Bobby on the boards today. And our guest, because we're treating today as a Monday, is Andy Hooser, the voice of Raison.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up? Happy Tuesday, man. Yeah, greatest day of the entire week.
Oh, here we go. Tuesday. It's usually Monday. That's the greatest day of the entire week. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason.
Greatest day of the entire week.
So what makes
happy
it such...
Memorial Day? And
well, some people don't like to say Happy Memorial Day because it's a solemn day, you know?
It is a solemn day. You're right. At the same time, I, being the eternal optimist, always like to think about the positive side of things. So while we are remembering the solemn day, we're also remembering why we get to celebrate in the barbecue or the grilling in the backyard of what you get to do and why you're on vacation and why you're traveling all over the place. I mean, there's a reason for that. So it's a great day to remember why we get to celebrate those and who got to fight and defend that stuff. And I asked a question this weekend with my radio show. I asked the simple question of, are we holding up the standards today for what those individuals, those men and women died for? Are we holding ourselves to that standard of that idea of what they tried to die for? Are we still holding that up today? And in
that's
some
a
places,
great
I think
question.
Yes, in other places, maybe not.
Well, in many places, maybe not. Frankly, it's kind of sad, isn't it? It's terrible, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The state of the nation, the lies all day, every day, coming from politicians on both sides. But you look at the Democrats out on Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Chris Murphy, notorious. I mean, Adam Schiff putting out nonsense about it, just ridiculous. It's all day, every day. It's a nonstop barrage of lies. No question about it. And one of those topics that we've been lied to about for so many years, Andy, and ladies and gentlemen, if you know Andy Hooser, show us your shirt, Andy, if everybody's watching on the stream.
Yeah, we got it. There we go.
What does it say?
There we go. We got it. It says, this is some.
Yeah. Well, can't say that word on the air, but you can show it all over the internet. Yeah. Talk about that during the break. And by the way, guys, because you mentioned whether we're barbecuing is slow cooking. Grilling is over direct heat over hot coals. Grilling a steak, smoking a pork butt. There's a difference. That's the difference between the two. And if you have any questions and want our recipes, here's the shameless plug. It's Grilling While Armed. You can pick it up over at Amazon. Grilling While Armed. It's a perfect time of the year to do that, by the way, where we pair up our favorite recipes with a favorite gun to wear on your hip while you're smoking up the neighborhood. Go ahead, Andy.
Well, that's the way to do it. I thought barbecuing was when you use barbecue sauce.
Okay, and you're in Kansas?
Come on. You're
in Kansas? Come on. All right, Andy, let's, we some of the things we've been lied about for so many years, obviously, has been the UFO deal, the UAPs. Now, another batch of files has been released. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're high past I don't know, I don't call it an attitude. Maybe it's an attitude. The stigma of talking about this, which I've never had a problem talking about. It fascinates me. It always has ever since I was a kid. But the more the government releases, I mean, I just watched an hour Dr. Phil talking about this, warning people they had better get ready for what's coming. Dr. Phil on the Dr. Phil show. And if you don't believe me, ladies and gentlemen, go over to YouTube and watch Dr. Phil. Just search on YouTube, Dr. Phil UFOs. It'll pop up. He has an incredible conversation one-on-one with you as a viewer about, are you ready for what's coming? Now, absolutely incredible. Just saw Officer Tatum, Salem Radio, interviewing Tim Burchett. I just watched it today. This is serious stuff, folks. Very serious stuff. Andy, you're all over this. You got the alien shirt on. I mean, they're going as far now as saying that they have found 4 different species of aliens. It's crazy what we're hearing, man. But the lies, according to Tim Burchett, Republican out of Tennessee, he is flat out telling you you've been lied to since at least 1947. Andy, take it away.
Yeah, no. Well, look, I mean, he did an interview. It might have been with Officer Tatum too, but he did one with Newsmax to where they said probability chance of us having an actual interaction with extraterrestrials. What is that based on your knowledge? And he said, absolutely 100%. There's no doubt in our mind whatsoever that we've actually been in contact. So again, look, I followed this for a long time. I've really enjoyed these. I've been one that's gone down the rabbit hole to the conspiratorial side of it for a very long time in the communities that I'm with, and a lot of friends that I have that have claim to have been abducted or that claim to communicate with them through meditations and through dream states and astral projection and all this stuff. So it takes it to another level. But what they were saying 10, 15, 20 years ago is stuff the government is beginning to admit. When you mentioned Fox News reporting on 4 different ET races, Mark, I've showed you the book here on the program. I have my almanac with 120 different species of ETs, and those 4 were the main big ones that they talk about in that book. So we've known this for a long time. I find it personally, who has followed this for a long time and who has enjoyed this and has been called the conspiracy theorist and the wackadoodle for following this and believing in all of it. You know, I just find it funny and ironic to me that now the mainstream's beginning to catch up and that they're coming to the admittance of what we've been talking about for a long time. So yeah, look, we had another dump this past week, and what was it, a week or 2 ago, I think, when that big second round of dumps is. The videos are getting better.
Let me stop you on the videos.
Yeah,
because Burchett is talking about, again, Republican from Tennessee, who has been in the skiff, ladies and gentlemen, and has made it public. If you have seen what I have seen, you would be awake at night. You would not be able to sleep. So he has seen what we haven't seen yet. He did mention in the second round of dumps that you're being fed misinformation from the government. I want you to know that. They're giving you things that are clearly explainable in this to try to maneuver around, and we are pushing hard. These guys are up against, these are sitting congresspeople telling you, including Marco Rubio, they're telling you this, ladies and gentlemen, not me. I'm just talking about what they're saying. Don't shoot the messenger with a ray gun from the nearest star. Okay? I'm only telling you what your sitting congressman and your secretary of state are actually saying. And it is wild when you think about it. A lot of people don't think about it. They go back and they default back in their minds that, this is the same stuff I've heard about when I was a kid, and it's not true. It's kind of funny that they're talking about this. Show me something that's not a grainy video. Well, I have a feeling that day is coming. But the government and the deep state is still, according to Burchett and others, feeding us information to try to skirt around the issue until it does come out. But I'm telling you now, if you haven't watched the Dr. Phil, I was shocked when I saw that. And guys, I'm telling you, he's as serious as a heart attack when he's talking to you about this, Andy. It is awesome. It's actually really, truly amazing when you have sitting Congress people, and this goes back to Harry Reid, who originally funded this and everything else. And they're telling you that some people have told the president that the president himself is on a need-to-know basis. And, but they have information. Wild. Eventually, it's all going to come out. It's inevitable.
It will come out. And look, and this is why it's important to talk about, not just because it's fun and it's something to think about on what else could be out there. How is this going to change humanity, change culture in general, and so on and so forth. But like you said, you hinted at it. There is a known propaganda machine that while this is beginning to come out, they have to control the narrative of what this is going to look like. And just like as you talk about with misinformation coming out on firearms and with crime rates and with homicides and with cartels and with illegal firearms and all this other stuff, the same thing's going to be happening here. While this information is beginning to come out, a lot of whistleblowers that are spreading misinformation, the narrative that we're going to get from certain government agencies that are going to try and mislead you for the fear mongering and for the, the global dominance, and we need more, weaponizing of space and all this other garbage that they're going to come out with. Like, they're going to come out with a particular narrative, and you need to be in the know to understand the issue enough to call out their BS when they try this stuff, because that's the only way for them to control this type of narrative, because it will come out until it does. Like, we need more of this video to come out, and it will come out, but we need to be prepared for it, which is why they're doing this in stages. The latest videos, though, of these crafts flying underwater and just zooming around under the water.
We're getting ready to take a break.
It's pretty amazing.
Hold on a second. We're getting ready to take a break. I'm glad you brought that up, because Burchett mentioned that's when he talks to Officer Tatum on the Officer Tatum show, and it was quite the conversation for about 20 or 30 minutes. Guys, I don't want you to do it now. Pay attention to the show, but afterwards, go watch it. It's quite fascinating. The Officer Tatum show, Representative Tim Burchett, the entire segments on this very topic. But when we come back, I want to tell you what Burchett had to say about what you were just talking about, Andy, regarding the globe's oceans. Fascinating stuff. We'll be right back with Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. Don't go away. Yeah, welcome back to the show indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom. Please go out of your way to visit all of our great partners. You can find them all at armedamericanradio.com, armedamericanradio.com. Join the NRA while you're at it. Also join Virginia Citizens Defense League. Joining CCDL, Connecticut Citizens Defense League, is free. Just go do that. It's free. We need your number on these rolls. Just get your name on these rolls. Join ccdl.org, ccdl.org. You heard Holly Sullivan on the show. One of my fellow board members at the CCRKBA that also is an upper-level position at CCDL and putting on the New England Firearms Policy Conference coming up this Saturday, sponsored by the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms. And our good friend at Guns and Gadgets, Jared Yanis, Guns and Gadgets, is sponsoring the happy hour. So if you're going to be there, well, have a drink on Jared and Guns and Gadgets. How about that? It's being sponsored by Guns and Gadgets. You can check out AZCDL, Arizona Citizens Defense League, at azcdl.org. VCDL and AZCDL need your help, and beginning in June, you're going to start hearing us talk a lot about Florida carry. The fight is moving to the states, ladies and gentlemen, and as it moves to the states, we're going to be there to fight back. Florida's got DeSantis. There's no problems in Florida, just like there's no problems in Arizona, right? The supposed most gun-friendly state in the country. All these states, ladies and gentlemen, need our help, and we're going to tell you how to do all of that. And also coming up in June, just for fun, we're going to do this for Quang Nguyen, Arizona State Representative, coming up in June. On every show, every day in June is Quang Nguyen Day, because it's going to be Quang Nguyen month. He's being primaried out there in Arizona, and we can't let that happen. So we've made it Quang Nguyen. We love him. We know him here as the Shredder. So please visit all of our great partners and subscribe to us on YouTube. Please get our shorts every day and our live streams and our videos that we put out. We need your help to do that. It's growing like a weed over there, and thank you for that. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. Welcome back in, my brother.
Yeah, buddy. And here on this show, it is happy hour every day on this program.
It is, especially when you are here on a Monday. I never thought I'd say Monday's my favorite happy hour day of the week, and with you here it is, man. Right. It really is. I can hear Greg in my ear now laughing at both of us. All right, I'm going to go back to this. Right. I want to go back to this UAP thing for a minute, because it is quite fascinating. A couple of things that Burchett was talking about was something that you mentioned, and that's the world's oceans. And Burchett, when he was asked by Tatum about that, he said, I want people to understand, sitting congressman, ladies and gentlemen, we've mapped less than 20% of the world's oceans. Less than 20% of the world's oceans have been mapped. And it represents approximately 75% of our globe, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that. He said, we have video of these things hovering for hours, stationary, hours, with zero visible means of propulsion whatsoever. He said the amount of energy that it takes to do something like that, then it just literally takes off. Instantaneous, straight up. He's seen the videos. Now, the energy aspect, Andy, is where he turned. Now, the energy to do that is immense. It takes an awful lot of energy to keep an airplane aloft. And they run out of fuel. Apparently, these don't.
Very quickly.
Right. Now, something he said was interesting. Let's take energy in its other form, and that is the actual energy markets around the world. If we are, in fact, in possession of this type of technology, he says part of the reason that the deep state would hide something like this when he was asked by Tatum was economics. Can you imagine, if we're in possession of this type of technology, what that would do to the world's oil markets, the oil companies, the refine, everything involved with energy as we currently know it, that heats our homes, our automobiles, fills our gas tanks, whatever it may be. It would literally destroy that overnight. And the crash to world global markets would be incredible instantly. So there's a little bit of understanding there to a certain extent, but he says we're past that now. And Trump is the man that is going to let this out. Yeah, fascinating conversation, Andy. And one more thing. Go ahead. Comment on that.
Well, I was going to say, if anybody, you're right. If anybody's going to be able to do it, it's going to be Donald Trump, to where he's not as beholden to special interests as other politicians are, especially the oil industry. And look, I'm a big fan of the oil and natural gas industry. It is right now the most reliable, cost-effective, and efficient energy that we have out there. So, as a fan of those types of things, as of the world today, that is the best type of energy that we can possibly have. That being said, you're right that if this does happen, which look, we already know it happens. This is not conspiracy now. Fox News even ran the report on the people that are missing and people that have been researchers here. And for years, that have been actually documented people that have been able to get a car to drive 300, 400 miles on a single tank of gas because they utilize water or they utilize some type of battery loop system or whatever it is that's been able to make things more efficient. All of them in the past 20 to 30 years have all disappeared in some mysterious way, committed suicide, and then all of their research just up and gone.
Right.
Like, we know it happens. It's
There's about
documented.
12 of them right now, if I'm not mistaken. Well, one just popped out. A story popped out about one just recently. Guys, you got Jesse Waters talking about this on Fox News. You've got
it's not just the researchers. It's not just
not just the research, but talking about what we're talking about right now. It utterly fascinates me. And look, if you know anything about government, ladies and gentlemen, you can tell when they're getting ready to let you know something. You can tell when something's getting ready to pop. You start to get the sense. The mainstream media begins to talk about these things because they know it's out there. It's part of the vernacular now, Andy. And it is getting ready to happen. This is all being discussed on every major network by some, I call them reliable people. They're very unreliable people at the networks. But nonetheless, very well known and in many circles, very respected outlets are now talking about this in great detail. And I go back to Dr. Phil.
Like
goes
said,
back to Dr. Phil.
Yeah, but they're teasing it. But you're right. They're teasing it and they're trying to condition us for it, because what would society look like for everybody listening? They're like, oh my gosh, they're talking about this issue again. What would society look like if we had, I don't know, a baseball sized item that generates unlimited amount of energy sitting in your home? Doesn't need to be connected to anything. It can power all your heating. It can power all your electricity. It can power anything. You don't have to worry about it whatsoever.
And it's free.
Paying zero.
Free.
And it's completely free. Paying zero into utility companies or energy or gas or oil or whatever else. What would that do to the entire world? We have this energy. We think we have this energy, but it's been suppressed because it would crash an entire global economy. At the same time, if our global economy is based on an archaic structure and it needs updated, then we need to hit the reset button at some point, and then we can adapt, because that's what society is supposed to do. But the archaic system is going to be there for as long as we try to hold on to it desperately and cling on to it as long as possible.
Here's how I'm going to tie this to our Second Amendment rights and our guns. Ladies and gentlemen, if this information comes out, I hope you're heavily armed.
Yes.
Okay? Because the threat of a collapse is very, it's why they're hiding this for so long, is their biggest fear. One of the other things I found fascinating that Burchett was talking about was the information when asked by Tatum. And I'm working to get him on the program, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to have him on to talk about this. Is the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act requests that would be coming in, that the deep state has in fact farmed this out to 3 or 4 large companies like Raytheon, et cetera, who control the jet propulsion studies that we do and have massive contracts with the federal government, because once that information is disseminated over to them, guess what? They're not subject to FOIA requests, ladies and gentlemen. Only the government. We'll be back with Andy right after this. Welcome back to the show, indeed. Mark Walters, segment 3, Tuesday edition, acting as a Monday with our guest, Andy Hooser. And as I told you, June, we're going to have fun in June with Representative Kwong Win, the Shredder. We're going to make June Kwong Win month. Every single day of June is going to be Kwong Win month. He's going to come out. He's going to come out of my mouth at some point, because we've got to keep this man in office, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to be primaried, or they're going to try to primary him anyway. But we're not going to let that happen, because we love Kwong Win. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. Welcome back in, my brother.
Yeah, buddy. Good stuff. Kwong Win month. I like that.
Kwong Win month, man. Gotta love him. He's the shredder. He has shredded over 91 anti-gun bills. Now, speaking of guns, let's tie the UFO thing, UAP thing to guns. Right? I already told you, if you're looking at, if the government's concerned about a collapse, you should be concerned about a collapse. I'm concerned about it anyway, and like to think I'm prepared for that. But I want to know what kind of weapons. Anything that's got the technology to do that has got some bad arse weapons. Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do.
Yeah.
You know it does. You
Well, of
know
course.
whatever it is. Does.
And we're starting to get a tease of that, right? We're just getting a taste of it. That operation down with Nicolas Maduro with the whole sound vibration frequency thing where people couldn't, their ears were bleeding and they couldn't stand up. And that's just a taste of what we have that we didn't know that we had. And that
Cuba's
we're starting
been doing
to learn.
that to our diplomats for years, apparently.
Yeah, it's been wild. So the government has things that we don't have, which is debatable on whether that's actually constitutional or not, because I thought, as the general public, our whole role of the Second Amendment was to hold the government accountable by, now we do it in just mass numbers with the 320, 340 million people in the country, however, 100 million plus firearms that are in the country. So, I mean, we do that by mass number, but still, when they have that type of technology, it should beg the question of, what do they have? What don't we have? And are we prepared for whatever may come down the road?
No. There's your simple answer. No.
Yeah.
If you've got something that can do that with technology, the answer to that is a flat out no. If the energy used, if all this is true, the amount of energy that it's required to do what these things are doing, we're talking about gravitational stuff, all kinds of crap. There's no way we can touch any of that stuff. They make you look like child's play. And I think it was Dr. Phil who mentioned on his show, he goes, why? Well, some people ask, why, how come they haven't contacted us? We don't know that they haven't, number one. And number two, he goes, they might just look at us as gum on the bottom of a shoe. We're inconsequential to them if they're that advanced. They're they're not interested in us. They might be interested in the planet. It's fun stuff. Andy, let's shift now because I was telling you during the break, I've been out the studio since 3 o'clock this morning. I recorded a YouTube video short out here, and it just never stops, right? It's 24/7. You know the routine. But I was up, and I knew I was up. So I grabbed, here's my shameless plug, I grabbed my blackout coffee. I did make a pot of blackout coffee and had a couple cups of blackout coffee. That QR code up there, by the way, that you see up on top of the screen, you can point your camera right at that and grab that blackout coffee, and I would hope that you would do that. It's the best. But as I was drinking my coffee and I was looking through some stories, I found this, and I couldn't stop laughing. And then I watched the video, and I couldn't stop laughing, and I turned it into a YouTube short. And I want you to go watch it, ladies and gentlemen. It's at YouTube at Armed American Radio. Frustrated residents build gun violence barricades on Seattle's Aurora Avenue side streets. Now, I'm going to try to keep a straight face in this. If you watch my video, you'll see pictures of the barricades in there, and it's only about a minute and a half long. Not even. I think it's only about a minute long. Frustrated by recurring gunfire tied to Aurora Avenue's long-running and increasingly deadly crime problems, some North Seattle residents have begun barricading neighborhood streets themselves. Supporters call it a safety measure, though it's also raising concerns that the makeshift barricades could delay ambulances and fire crews responding to emergencies. Now, I want you to think two of the like Jersey barriers, the concrete barriers, but they're not concrete barriers. They are a piece of crap, aluminum, put together nonsense with 2x4s that have gang graffiti all over them in the middle of the road. And somehow, and I want you to explain this to me because you are the voice of reason, I want you to explain to me how that's going to stop crime and gunfire and bullets, they say, whizzing through their neighborhood. Would you educate me, Andy? We're talking, this ain't even Home Depot stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead.
Taking it to a whole new level. Yeah, taking it to a whole new level there. Look, I mean, I find it funny because eventually everything becomes full circle, right? We question everything, and it first starts with people questioning the narrative, questioning the status quo. We have to do something different. That's leading to what we're seeing in the nation right now with this socialist revolution and this whole overhaul, and Zoran Mamdani doing what he's doing in New York, and the radical that's almost like a Zoran Mamdani in Seattle, and the mayor's race in LA, that they have to question everything and do something different because the grass is always greener on the other side. That leads to what we're seeing now, the crime rates, the Antifa, the Black Lives Matter, to all this radicalism that's in the streets causing havoc, and the crime rates that have skyrocketed because you essentially have anarchy and you're not allowed to have law enforcement enforce laws because cops are really bad. So in response, they're saying, let's build barricades to block off our roads and have community watches to where we can keep our streets safe because we don't want criminals to come into our community. So they're kind of reinventing the wheel again of we should have community watches, aka police, to patrol our streets, and then we should have walls, aka barricades, to try and block bad people from coming into our community because we want our community to be safer. So they're trying to figure it out. They haven't quite seen the light bulb moment, aha, come on yet, saying, wow, maybe we should just actually support the institutions in our local community that do this stuff already and actually allow the cops to get rid of bad guys and for them to keep the streets safe. They haven't quite come to that configuration yet, but it's coming because they're trying to reinvent the wheel. So, of course, now they have these half-made barricades that are going to make them more dangerous because, like you said, if there's, God forbid, a police or an EMS or something that needs to get down there, they can't.
Well,
but
they don't go down there anyway. Look, this is the heart of the defund movement is Seattle. Let's go there. Now, if you're watching on your screens, I've put the photographs up. I've shared the screen here from Como News, KOMO News in Seattle.
They look like horse troughs.
I mean, okay, these things aren't stopping anything. They're certainly not stopping a bullet. I don't care if it's a 22. Okay, this is tinfoil stuff. This is a joke. But the funny part about this, the irony here is these are the people that have elected a socialist mayor. These are the people that wanted and started the defund the police movement. This and Portland are home to Antifa. This is cities where they burn, where cops are just outnumbered and outgunned. I don't even know why those cops are still cops there, to be honest with you. God bless them for doing that job in a place that hates them.
Yeah.
And then this. Now, these people are serious. They're actually serious about this. Okay? Enrique's neighbors hauled in large metal planter boxes, dirt and gravel to partially block residential roads feeding into Aurora Avenue north of one of Seattle's busiest corridors. I mean, the barriers are intended to stop gunmen from speeding through the streets during shootings connected to turf disputes among people involved in prostitution and human trafficking activity along Aurora. The rationale is spelled out on a sign posted on one of the barriers on North 97th Street. You know, more bullets.
So in other words, Mark,
I mean, come on.
in other words, Mark, you have anarchy because you've, like you said, you've disengaged with the law enforcement. No cops. Cops are evil. So now you have turf wars. You have prostitution. You have drugs. You have gangs. You have cartels. You have all of this going on in turf wars that are going on. And the
music
elected these individuals to try and run the city this way because this is what they wanted are saying now, wow, crime's really bad. I'm going to put a flower planter in the middle of the street to hopefully not have these guys drive down here and have stray bullets flying through my home because now things have gotten really dangerous. We can't take our kids out in the front yard to play. And but what we're going to do is we're going to have a graffiti-ridden I mean, I don't even I guess it's a planter. To me, it looks like a cow trough or a horse trough or something. But you're going to put that in the middle of the street, put
it's a joke.
So that way it looks beautiful.
We'll continue the conversation. It is quite fascinating, but nonetheless, folks, here's a simple solution. Lock up the criminals. Oh, wait. Need a police force for that.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom today and every day, along with Andy Hooser, the voice of Liaison. Andy, it's great to have you here as always. Guys, before we get back to it, I'm holding up my attorney's on retainer card, and I'm going to start getting a little punchy with this. Because if you have made a decision to carry a firearm, I have to ask you a question if you do not have this card in your wallet. And it's a very simple question. It's one word. Why? Why? Why would you not have this card in your wallet? If you carry a firearm, you know and hope that you never have to use it, but you expect that one day you might because you know bad things happen to good people every single minute. As we're talking right now, someone across this country is defending themselves, whether it be with a firearm, a rock, a brick, it doesn't matter. And that person is going to be investigated. And sometimes they're going to be investigated by some not very friendly people. And they are not entitled to a lawyer under the Constitution unless they've been charged with a crime. And an investigation can go on forever and upend your life. You're going to want a lawyer. So for $37 a month, why would you not put this in your wallet? That is something I just don't understand. If you carry a gun to defend yourself, carry a lawyer in your pocket with you. Everything you need is right here on the back. Every bit of it. It's all you need. Get your name on it. Get your little card, attorneysonretainer.us/AAR, and ask yourself this question when you lay down at night. You know, I carry a gun to protect myself and my family. If I ever have to use it, what's going to happen? And then ask yourself, when you realize you don't have this card in your wallet, ask yourself this question. Why? What am I waiting for? Okay? If you have to raid your kids' piggy bank jars, then do it. It's attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. AAR. And you can find them and all of our great partners, every single one of them, at armedamericanradio.com. Don't forget, South Dakota, Justin McNeil needs our help. Political season's upon us, sadly. I hate it as much as you do. But there's some people out there we want to help get elected. Justin McNeil, McNeal in South Dakota, running for U.S. Senate. He's one of us. These are the people we need in office. And senators matter. Doesn't matter if you live in South Dakota or not. Visit his website, see what he stands for, where he wears his support for the Second Amendment right smack on the front page, just like I've got it on my arm right here, verbatim, okay? Support these people. Visit the local organizations, VCDL and AZCDL, and take care of business. Just get your name on these rolls. There is power in numbers, and we need these numbers during election season. It's that simple. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason, welcome back. We're going to flip over to another story here now, and that is we have a woman. This is a wild story. I was talking with AWR Hawkins about this today. We were kind of laughing about it, and I asked him a serious question, and it kind of made sense when he gave me the answer, because I was, just kind of haphazardly kidding through this. But woman injured after dog accidentally fires shotgun at convenience store. Now, you want to ask, how's that happen? How does a creature with no opposable thumbs fire a shotgun? That was the question that was going through my mind immediately. How can that possibly be? No, I have a Shih Tzu. Okay, my dog's not strong enough to pull a revolver 13-pound trigger. There are big dogs out there. And as I was talking with AWR, I said, how does something like this even happen? Because the story did not explain that process. And, the dog wasn't trying to rob the convenience store, wasn't trying to carjack somebody. I mean, maybe, I don't know. They know more than we know. Maybe they're the smartest things in the room because they know we don't know what they're thinking because they do understand everything we say. I'm convinced of that, but that's a whole different show. But he said, no, I want you to think about it this way. He said a shotgun was laying on the back seat. It was loaded. It was chambered. And a dog was climbing over that shotgun to try to get to the window when its paw got stuck in the trigger guard, and as it was pushing and moving to get towards the window, the trigger went off. Now, I guess I can see that happening, but even a big dog, that's a lot of pressure for an animal's paw to put on that gun. So I still am not clear on this, but it's crazy world out there. We're talking UFOs, barriers in Seattle to stop bullets, and dogs firing shotguns. Someone was injured. The cops originally thought it was a BB gun. When they got there, they found out it was a shotgun pellet. They found out that the shotgun had discharged as a result of the dog in the back seat. We live in an upside-down world, Andy. I just wanted to run it by you because you are the voice of raison. Give me some raison.
Well, yeah, it is a very strange world. Yeah, you're right. UFOs all over the place and dogs discharging firearms in the backseat of a car. So look, it takes a whole nother level to emotional support animal to a military support animal. Yeah. So I guess there is that. You get to have your dog actually protect you on that front. Look, I mean, gun safety is important, and it should be a reminder that, I'm sorry, it's such a wild story, but you're right. It's a reminder that not only do we advocate for firearms, but we advocate for the safety and use of firearms, and the training and proper use of firearms, and being able to hold your firearms properly and safely. Look, I don't want my animal near my firearm at all, because I mean, I don't think.
No, I don't either. I don't either for that.
But,
for those very reasons.
So we want that responsible gun ownership.
Right.
Yeah, we want that safety done and that responsible gun ownership thing done. But look, I mean, that's I don't know. So where would they keep the firearm? Why would you just have your shotgun just laying on the back seat? That's just kind of weird to me in the first place. So a lot of questions that are raised with this scenario.
If the person wasn't in the car, the dog was in the car, the shotgun was there unattended, it was chambered. Okay, there's some legitimate safety questions going on here. Let me read from AWR's piece. Police then found a truck. Well, let's start here. KNOP reported that Scottsbluff police were called just after noon because, quote, a person had been shot by a BB gun. While heading to the scene, they were told a person had actually been hit with a shot from a shotgun shell. Police then found a truck with an attached camper, the quote-unquote passenger side door panel of which had taken damage consistent with a shotgun blast. Officers learned that a dog in the back seat moved from one side of the vehicle to the other and triggered a shotgun that had a live shell in the chamber, causing the firearm to discharge. So if you play theater of the mind with me, that description that I gave you on the outset of the discussion of this is apparently what happened. If you can think of a large animal, its paw getting into the trigger guard, and then it pushing itself forward, the trigger was depressed in the process. And that is apparently what happened, as bizarre as that sounds. So, bizarro stories today, Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. Glad you could be here with us. UFOs,
Yeah.
Seattle wackos, and dogs firing shotguns at convenience store parking lots.
Well, so what that's going to lead to is if that happened in Seattle, then we would have dog cages and then dog fences along the road as well. So that way, dogs would not be able to allowed outside dogs at least would not be able to be allowed in these communities. So that way they wouldn't accidentally discharge a firearm because guns are very scary and they don't want them around. So then they would ban dogs and guns within these communities in Seattle.
Yeah, and